Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Dr. Paul with a comic book haul. I got a little trip into Florida to visit with my in-laws over the holidays, and I took the opportunity to step into a few comic shops while I was there, and I wanted to share what I picked with you. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I have over 40 years experience collecting comics, and I share my experience and passion for comic book collecting, investing, and conservation here on the channel. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button, tell a friend or maybe an enemy about the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. I've already posted 2 videos of my trips to Cloak and Dagger Comics and Famous Faces and Funnies. Please check them out if you haven't already. I'll put a link up there. The next stop was a shop in DeLand, Florida called Cliff's Books. I love this little shop. Walking in was complete sensory overload. Cliff has so much cool stuff. In addition to comics and books, he had toys, pop culture related merchandise, and a whole lot more. Cliff was manning the front desk, and we struck up a conversation about comics and our involvement with him. He's a really cool guy. He established Cliff's Books in 1983, so he's been a comic shop proprietor for nearly 40 years. He's pretty much seen it all. The comics were well organized despite everything being very tightly packed, and having been a retailer for that long, he understands the market, so his prices were very sensible. He had low prices on non-keys and approximately what you'd find online pricing for keys, which is exactly how I'd price things if I ran a comic shop. Otherwise, you could never keep keys in stock, and you end up loaded with nothing but filler issues in all of your long boxes. I found a few things to purchase, and I picked one 80s independent key that I thought was dramatically underpriced. So let's get to them. First up is Kingdom Come #1. Kingdom Come is a 4-issue miniseries published by DC in 1996 under the Elseworlds imprint, written by Alex Ross with an assist from Mark Waid, and painted from the covers all the way through the interiors by Alex Ross. These books are square-bound, they're not saddle-stitched like a traditional comic book. Kingdom Come is considered one of the best stories ever told in comic book format. It won 4 Eisner Awards in '97, Best Limited Series, Best Cover Artist, Best Painter, and Best Editor. Alex Ross also won 2 Harvey Awards for this series, Best Artist and Best Cover Artist. This book is the first appearance of Magog, and also the first appearance of Lightning, the daughter of Black Lightning. Those are reasons enough to buy it, and whenever I see a minty copy for $5, I always just grab them. But fans of this series have even more reason to be excited because since taking over DC Studios, James Gunn has been hinting Kingdom Come will play into his plans. In fact, on November 30th, he tweeted this image with the caption, "Making plans." It could be nothing, but as I said, I usually buy this book anyway, so now I'm definitely checking for this limited series. The first printing usually sells for $10 to $20 online raw, and there are just a few over 400 universal copies in the CGC census, including 2 9.9s. This square-bound cover really lends itself to high grade. But once they're bent, there's nothing a press can do to help them. So they tend to stay nice, but once they have some damage, there's no way to bring them back. Slabbed 9/8 can be found for a little under $200 before tax and shipping. But keen observers will note this is the second printing, indicated by this little Roman numeral on the upper left here. I've never seen a second printing before, so I checked the CGC census. There is only a single copy in the CGC census for the second printing. What's the fair market value? Who knows? But with the interest in late printings growing and with the potential for speculation in Kingdom Come, especially this first issue, I was thrilled to grab this minty copy for $5. Next up is a book from a series I've been hunting for over a year now. Sony's producing a film featuring Kraven the Hunter, and they've announced it will be based on the 6-issue story arc called Kraven's Last Hunt, which ran 2 issues each of Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, and Web of Spider-Man. It's considered one of the best Spider-Man story arcs of the 80s, but the 6 issues had not previously been considered key books. You'll note I picked up part 2 on part of this Florida trip in one of my earlier videos. For this reason, I've been hopeful to find these issues in the regular back issue bins for yesterday's price, perhaps $5 to $8. But I've been unable to do so after hunting them for a year, and I don't want to continue to chase this price upward. This issue, Web of Spider-Man number 32 from November of '87, is part 4 of Craven's Last Hunt, and has consistently been selling in high grade online for $25 to $50. It also features this stunning Mike Zeck cover art of Spidey emerging from the grave in the black costume. So I was happy to pick up a high-grade newsstand of this for $18. If you haven't read this story arc yet, I highly recommend picking these up before they're completely out of reach, and the story is pretty incredible as well. Next up is a book, Magic number 4 from March of 1983, that I purchased from the newsstands as a kid. But my brother and I read it so many times that my copy has seen better days. This issue is the first appearance of Illyana Rasputin as the Dark Child and the origin of her soul sword. I've been hunting for a 9/8 because of, well, nostalgia and this great Sal Buscema cover featuring the Dark Child. But there are only a few over 200 universal copies in the CGC census, and 9/8, even in this bear market, will set you back about $200. Although that is down considerably from the market high of $500. There are not very many slabbed copies coming into the market, and owners are holding on to them pretty tightly. So I decided my best chance at a 9/8 was to buy some nice raw copies and press and sub them to CGC myself. Well, Cliff had not 1, not 2, 3, 4, or even 5, but he had 6 copies of direct market Magic number 4, really nice minty copies. And he told me that he had laid them in storage when they first came out, and he had just pulled them from storage during the pandemic. I told him I'd take them all for $5 each in the hopes of getting a 9.8 out of them. And I also pulled this high-grade newsstand of well, for which he wanted $8, which I thought was very fair. These newsstands just don't survive in high grade nearly as often as the direct editions. I feel very good about these, as I think I'm very likely to hit my 9.8 goal, and I may even get several 9.8s out of this pile of comics. I think these books may be perfect candidates for a CGC 9.8 pre-screen submission. So that's my plan with them. The next pickup is another book I grabbed multiple copies of. It's Marvel Spotlight number 12 from October 1973. It's the first full appearance of Damon Hellstrom, his origin story, and obviously his first cover appearance. Although he does appear in Ghost Rider number 1 and number 2, he's completely obscured by shadow in both of those books, and you really don't see the character at all. This is the best book for Son of Satan speculation and long-term investment because he's fully revealed, we get his origin, and we get this great Herb Trimpe cover with his first cover appearance. Collectors today like to display their books and enjoy getting them slabbed, and having the first cover appearance to display is really important in today's market. You probably know that Damon Hellstrom already had a single season Hulu show that was canceled by Kevin Feige. It's really not part of MCU canon, so there's still lots of room for speculation here and to bring him into the proper MCU, especially after the success of Werewolf by Night. Mikey Sutton of Geekosity is on record that Damon Hellstrom will be back as the son of Satan, specifically the son of Mephisto, once Mephisto enters the MCU. So I want to have some stock in this character in case that happens. These are both mid-grade copies, and mid-grade raw copies of this book have been selling online for $30 to $50. I purchased 2 copies for a total of $35 from Cliff's. So I'm pretty happy with this purchase, and should this speculation prove true, I'll have some well-bought inventory to sell into any price appreciation. I can clean and press these, they'll both benefit from that, and selling these will perhaps help finance acquiring a high-grade copy of Marvel Spotlight number 12 for my personal collection. My last pickups from Cliff's is, to me, the most exciting. This book, Destroyer Duck #1, published by Eclipse Comics in February of 1982, is a book I've been hunting for a long time. I have a fondness for these 80s independent books because they remind me of the summer of '84 when we discovered the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the indie comic boom that followed. Now in '82, I didn't have a comic book shop within 100 miles of my house, so I would not have had access to this in any normal markets then. But I'm glad I have this now. Hidden inside these pages is the first appearance of Gru the Wanderer, the Sergio Aragonés creation, with help from Mark Evanier and Stan Sakai of Usagi Yojimbo fame. The Gru story is a 4-page backup tale at the tail end of this book. Here it is. It's typical Gru fare, and this will have you laughing out loud. Basically, Gru is the greatest swordsman of all time, but all other aspects of his adventuring leave quite a bit to be improved upon. This is typical Gru fare. And I just love it. It was announced late last year on the 40th anniversary of the first publication of Gru that Did I Air Productions obtained the rights to develop Gru for television and movies and is working on a series. For that reason, I stepped up my game in hunting this book. I know it doesn't have Gru on the cover, which is one of my cardinal rules, and for that reason, I recommend if you want to speculate on Gru, you also hunt for his first self-titled book, Gru #1 from Pacific Comics, November 1982. But any true Gru fan has to have his first appearance, and one of the things that's great about this is his first tale. It really has all the hallmarks that we would come to love the character for, right there in his first story. This copy has obviously seen better days, but mid-grade raw copies sell online for $20 to $60, so for $5, I wasn't gonna pass this little gem up. Plus, I'm confident with a clean and a press, I'll have this copy presenting much better. Super happy to find this fun little comic with a hidden first appearance. Well, that's it for today. I'm looking forward to my next visit to DeLand, and I'll be sure to stop in and see Cliff when I do. I hope you enjoyed this short comic haul video. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I have one more haul video from my trip to Florida coming up soon, so stay tuned, and until next time, happy hunting and take care of one another.